Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So let's begin our session with the wonderful quote. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right thing. So for studying a new chapter of learning, I, Divya Jain, being your host for today's event, wants to extend a warm greetings and good morning to all of you present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all on today's international webinar on Agile and Scrum methodology. Agile and Scrum are the methodology that focus on iterative and incremental development, fostering collaboration, flexibility, and customer centricity. Through the lens of Agile and Scrum, obstacles become opportunities and challenges become catalysts for growth, fostering a culture of resilience and continuous learning. And to add our guest of honor and today's speaker, Ms. Komalpreet Kaur. It is a great honor to have you with us, ma'am. We are very grateful for your presence. Now, let me introduce our today's speaker to you all. She is a project manager with 5 years of experience in managing multiple teams in pre-sales, post-sales, SOW, product development, estimation of resources, and product strategies. She is very passionate to bringing new ideas and products that innovate and make an impact.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Divya, for a wonderful introduction. So I welcome everyone you to this webinar. And first of all, I just want to say a good round of applause for everyone because you're spending, I know the importance of Sunday, right? So you're spending just 1 hour that you're giving to this session. So I'll try my best to share my knowledge and experience. So today we'll be studying about Agile Scrum and overview. So Diksha has already given a very wonderful introduction about me. Just want to add on. I want to highlight a few things about me. I'm a certified Scrum product owner, and I have 5+ years of experience into product management and business development, where I worked with startups like Outgrow. It was a marketing platform on which we used to work. Our team also used to work. Then I have also experience with MNCs like Cognizant, and currently I'm working with Accenture. And apart from my work, I love to play outdoor games, and basketball and volleyball is my favorite. So to start this session, I'll just start with the one fictional story. Then I'll come to the agenda, like what is the context about this session. So I'll start with the fictional story. So let's say, so Priya is the restaurant owner of Mumbai, okay, and her restaurant is located in a IT sector of Mumbai. So people used to love her restaurant's food, where they used to order online. But for online, they don't have any application. They have phone. They used to phone call, and they Priya have set of food delivery boys team that they go and deliver that. But with time, our business is increasing and more people are giving orders. So they are facing some problems in that. For example, as they don't have proper application, so people have to call them and they have to reach out to their destinations. And sometimes it took a longer time. And second problem was customers who were ordering. They are not well through with the menu. What is there in the current menu? What they can order, and even they don't have so much telephones available so that people can order, and it took longer time. So Priya figured out there was the one clumsy process going on. Although her business was going very well, but there was a specific problem that they have to overcome. So to figure out, she thought if she would be having any one food online delivery app so that people can easily order, where we'll be having a location of everyone. Like you all must be aware about Google and Swiggy, right? So that is some kind of app that Priya want to develop. So yeah, so long time back, Priya did some research and she reached out to some company, like XYZ company, and that she also invested her money. So that team around took 6 to 7 months to complete that product, like that application. But that outcome was not very good, and it seems like she wasted her money and time on that. So this time she's doing her detailed research on some other company that she can approach that can help her to develop that application. Okay, she so to this after doing her rigorous research, she came to know about uh, technology A, like ABC Technology Company, a consulting company which used to develop an application and give some other IT services. So she met with an Ajay, who is project manager of that company. So she explained all her business problems, like what is the vision of her app, what she want to develop. She explained the whole story about those problems and explained it to Ajay. So Ajay also, and she also mentioned her previous experience, like in the last company, the experience was like they took around 6 months to build that product and it was not very good. So Ajay explained them ki last time that company have used the waterfall methodology, that was a traditional one to develop that application. But this time we'll be giving you an application just in 3 months. So by just listening that word, like how it's possible in 3 months, right? So to explain that, so Ajay told ki, to this we'll be using agile methodology to overcome all your problems and deliver you an application that too in 3 months. Okay. So this first I'll explain about the waterfall methodology, the previous one that took around 6 months to develop Priya's food delivery app. Okay. So this waterfall methodology is basically a linear methodology that normally goes with a different set of phases. So it is basically like if one step is done, only then next step can be done. Like it's a flow of waterfall. So it starts with the requirement phase where all set of functional and non-functional requirements are documented down. So for example, if we take example of the food delivery app only. So in the whole course, I'll be sticking to that example. So it will be easy for you to understand. So for the requirement, they'll be collecting all set of functional and non-functional requirements. For example, they have to build, let's say 20 features to develop that application, that food app, right? So for every feature, there should be a detailed documentation. And if we combine those 20 features, it will be like 100 plus pages that they have to do. So for example, like 25 to, I would say of overall time we are considering is 6 to 7 months, then 25 to 30% of the time will be given to this, that is requirement phase only. So like approximately it will be around 2 months. We are just collecting the requirements only. So that is about requirement. Next comes the design phase. So all set of system designs, like what type of infrastructure will be used, like obviously there'll be an application hosted on cloud, what type of cloud will be there. Then if we talk about coding languages, what language will be used, and what will be the user experience. User experience is basically when you go to any food app, right? So first the login screen comes, then the sign up, then the menu part. Those all are user experience that you're experiencing. So that already done in the design phase only. Okay. And so the next phase is the development phase. So whatever we have requirement documented, it's designed. Now it's come to like we have to work on that through a code. Like with the help of code, we'll be coming that our design and requirements into live. Okay. Next comes the testing phase. So now designing is done, everything is done. Now it's come for the testing phase. So here comes the testing team who look out for the application, like end to end of that application, from login to every process, what all features have been developed. So this also process takes a long time. Some features they have to test manually, like when they're login, it is properly login or not. It's fetching your email ID, your phone numbers, you're getting OTP, all sort of rigorous testing is done. And they also use some automation tools also for testing, right? So next come the deployment phase. Deployment means testing is done. Now this application will be live. So by live means like you might go to Play Store, you download Swiggy, so you are using that app. It means that a Swiggy company has deployed that app on Play Store. That's why you're using that. Like the end user, the product that you're using. And the last comes the maintenance. So after deployment, also there might be some bugs or some issues that they have to clarify or that needs to be fixed. So all that comes in the maintenance part. So this I explained to the waterfall methodology. So this process took the 6 months that Priya mentioned about her last experience, right? This is our traditional methodology that we used to use in the previously. Right now, also some companies use this, but right now people are switching to agile. So any questions, anyone, like a yes or no? Anything? Yes, it is reliable. Like if we talk about some approaches previously, it was used, but not very much reliable if we talk about agile. Like if we talk about, if we talk about some construction companies, for them, waterfall methodology is really very good because they have to first design everything, then that needs to be deployed and done, right? But if we talk about mostly of the IT sector, right now, everything we have alternative of every product, right? If I talk about food delivery app, we have Swiggy, Zomato, and some other my apps will be there. So we have to stick to our customer requirement, what our customer is thinking, and what feedbacks they are giving. So agile, it is basically whatever requirements are we are getting, we are just working on that and giving it back to a customer. Can't we say waterfall is more accurate and prescribed? No, it cannot be accurate. I mean, in some cases it can be, but for example, like I've given you the 6 month of example, right? You have only fixed all your requirements in the first phase only, right? you have to build 20 features in this, and that 20 features will be fixed only. But what if after the end, after 6 months, your app will be live, you'll see, okay, in the market there are some other things which are booming that you should add, but in this case you cannot add that. So I can say it is not like accurate and prescribed. I hope I answer your question. Okay, so I'll just move forward. Minimize this. Yeah. So agenda of this webinar will be, first we'll be starting with agile methodology, then we'll be covering benefits of agile, then what is Scrum, its benefits, and what are the people who are involved in Scrum team, and what are Scrum artifacts. By artifacts, it means what are the document or things that we use. Scrum events, like there are some set of specific meetings that will happen during this process. And last is about Scrum process. In process, I'll be covering everything, like whatever, how, what is the role of everyone, what document is done, at what time, what meeting is done. Okay, now we'll start with the agile methodology. So it is an iterative, adaptive, and team-based approach to project management and software development. It emphasizes on like the rapid delivery of an application in complete function components. So in this, what basically do, if you see in these images also, we are not delivering an product, or I would say application, just in one go, right? We are just working on few features. Let's say I'll be covering the sprint part and all in the next coming. So these are specific iterations, like we are dividing our big chunk of work into small parts and designing it, testing it, and launching it live. Okay, so these are the iterations. So it is a time boxed approach. And so in this slide, you can see the gray one, top one is a waterfall methodology, and the orange one is the agile methodology. Although waterfall methodology has some merits, but I would say it has more some disadvantages, like there is no involvement of customer in that, because for, if I take example of 6 months, for that 6 months, no customer can see, okay, what is being built, what the team is working with my project. That Priya is our end customer, okay, and client, I would say, for this. So Priya can see after 6 months what has been built. And this is the first disadvantage of waterfall. Second is there is a fixed set of requirements, like in between the whole phase, we cannot change the requirements. Like what I explained to you, all the phases, right? All 6 phases: requirement, deployment, design, and deployment, and the maintenance part. We cannot change any requirement. What is fixed in the first phase, it means it's fixed. And the third disadvantage can be, it is a time consuming process, like it takes long time to deliver the project. Now here comes the agile methodology. That is a new methodology that most of the companies are using nowadays. So in this, if you see these iterations 1 and 2, right? Release 1, iteration 1. So basically it works in the sprint. Let's say, as I gave an example of 20 feature that needs to be built for an app. But in first sprint, first iteration, we are just focusing on 4 main features. Prioritized features can be for a food app, right? A login page, sign up page. Or second can be once login is done, some few menus that they can add the menu pages. Third can be important, can be a Google map, right? That will be very important, because if you order anything online, the first thing they ask for your location, right? Fourth main priority app can be a payment app. You have selected your food, location is done. Now you're moving forward to the adding that food to the cart and going for the payment. So these can be main 4 to 5 features that I want to build in iteration 1, so that I can focus on. Similarly, once I have worked on these 5 features, it's designed, deployed, tested, and everything is done, then that will be our first sprint. Then next sprint, we can cover up more features that we have left, right? So in this way, we are giving the overall work like in small phases. And if I talk about the benefits of agile, so obviously it is an early delivery, because normally the sprint cycle, I know I'm using the sprint word a lot of times, but I'll be covering in the upcoming slide. So basically sprint is a time frame, right, where your decided few set of tasks that your team have to accomplish, that we are saying sprint. So normally it lasts around 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, so it is an early delivery, that is right. And next one is predictable cost. So instead of that 6-month project, what do you think? Like you can predict cost of that 6-month project or 2 to 4 weeks? Obviously 2 to 4 weeks, right? So cost is predictable. It'll be less use of cost, and then comes the higher customer satisfaction. So this is one of the main advantage of this. After just 2 to 4 weeks, your customer can see, okay, this is an app and these are the features that are already, you can use and give feedbacks. Like normally you give on Play Store, right? This app is not going good. This feature is really that I like. So basically on the next, when we normally say, we got some updates, normally we have to go to a Play Store and update our app, right? So those apps are basically, they're working on some changes and giving back to the customer. Okay, we have fixed the changes, fixed the problems that you were facing. And last one is low risk. So low risk of time, of cost, and everything. Next, so I have taken some statistics from Google about Agile, like what's the percentage of companies are using nowadays. Yeah, so first is 94% of companies are practicing Agile. So you can imagine the percentage here, right? We right now, the era which we are working on, it's all like IT and everything. People are coming online. Every sector, every industry is online today, and they have some set of projects that you have to do. So 94% of companies are reporting practicing Agile today. And second is 52% of companies using Agile for more than half of their projects. Okay. And 64% of companies have improved their software delivery with Agile. Like earlier, they might be using some waterfall or some other methodology, traditional one. But right now, they're adopting to Agile, and the improvement is around 64%. And here comes the revenue growth part. So, you know how important is revenue for every company, right? So, Agile provides 60% more revenue growth other than other methodologies. Now, so you might have understood what is Agile, right? So, in Agile is a framework. We can say it is a methodology or it's a framework which has multiple framework inside. So you can see this Agile umbrella. We have multiple frameworks like Crystal, Kanban, Extreme Programming. But from all these frameworks, Scrum is the one which is most widely used in most of the companies because of its values, its process that we'll be covering in the next slides. Sorry. Yeah. So let's start with what is Scrum. So Scrum is obviously an agile framework, and it is a lightweight that help people, teams, and organizations to generate value to solve their complex problem by giving adaptive solutions, right? So it is a lightweight framework. When I say lightweight, it means it is not that it helps to solve the complex problems can be any problem, like a company want to develop an application or want to give service, or they have to develop any project. So that is lightweight and simple to understand. So when I say simple to understand, it means Scrum has defined set of values that we have to follow when we are going to the Scrum process. So that is why they're saying simple to understand. So it's obvious, right? When we have some process, some values that are defined, and we have to follow that, in that case, process becomes a bit easy and simple. On the other hand, if there is no set of values and principles defined, everyone is doing their own work, although we are working in a team, but there is no set of process that they should go on a track. So that is why it is simple to understand, but difficult to master. So, I mean, don't worry, it's not that much difficult to master. I'll try my best to cover all the artifacts and roles in this course. And next comes the benefits of Scrum. So it is flexible and adaptable, right? So because when we are doing a big chunk of work into small sprints, and we have an option to change the requirements. Like in the first sprint, if we launched 5 main features, but let's say in the next sprint, I want to change anything from the last 5 features, right? So that I can cover in the next sprint. I mean, next 2 to 4 week of cycle. And next is creativity and innovation. So obviously, because we have Scrum team where we have product owner, Scrum master, this I'll be covering, and development team, like all set of designer, developers, and testers. So here, what comes in Scrum, multiple people come from multiple practices, right? They have multiple knowledges. We have solution experts who come and brainstorm their ideas and work on this process and to whatever application or product they are working. Okay, and so next is quality improvement. So obviously there is a quality improvement, like if we are working something in a sprint and we consider like this is the something that was not well in the last sprint, so we can cover up in the next sprint, like the next cycle. And next come the employee satisfaction. Yeah, so employee satisfaction, here I'm talking about the team who is actually working in the company into the Scrum team, right? So like earlier in waterfall or any traditional methodology, they have fixed, like if I go back to the example of that 6 month part. So in that case, they have fixed requirement. Okay, so after 6 months, this is a hard stop state. This product has to be live, like it has to be delivered to the customer. So team has so much of pressure because in some time, what happened in between, there might be some tasks which take a longer time and they were not able to accomplish those deadlines. So employer has too much pressure, like they have to work overnight, and because they have that hard stop date, right? But in this Scrum case, we are working on sprint, short cycles. If something is not went well in one sprint, we can cover up in the next sprint, but there is no there is a good amount of quality which is added into it. So that's why it's a employee satisfaction is one of the benefit of Scrum. And next comes the customer satisfaction. So this is also one of the main benefit of Scrum, because if customer is satisfied, he's getting the product that he's expecting in short durations only. So he can give a few feedback. So it's not always key like whatever you have done in sprint, it should be very good and everything should be very accurate and very perfect. But customer has ability, right? He can see, okay, this is the thing on which team has worked and this is the end product that they are checking. Okay, so before going forward, any questions, anyone? Feel free to add your questions in chat. Okay, you can see we have few questions. What about the cost? Is waterfall costly? Okay, so if we talk about the cost, so I cannot say which one is more costly, but I would say the most accurate cost can be determined in the agile part, because for long duration you are predicting one cost and for short duration you are predicting one cost. So that accuracy of cost prediction is done, matlab, it's more in agile. So agile is like working simultaneously to speed up and work rather than waterfall, that step by step. That is exactly Piyush well rightly said. And what are the features of Scrum framework that makes Scrum different from other agile methodologies? So features of Scrum framework. Okay. So Scrum follows a set of rules like a framework. And so I'll be explaining this overall process in the upcoming slides. And we have Scrum team, Scrum artifacts. So artifacts are basically the documents that we'll be following. So Scrum is actually widely used and very different because of its process. So here, like I just started with what is Scrum, right? Overall framework and other artifacts and things I'll be covering in the next slide. So I hope then your question will be answered. Okay, so I'll just move to just a minute. I just lost my cursor. Yeah. So next comes the Scrum team. So Scrum team is a combination of three, like two members and one team. So one is product owner, the one who defined the product backlog. So when I say a backlog, it means, again, let's go back to the same food delivery example, food app delivery, right? So product backlog will be the list of all tasks that needs to accomplish to develop that app, like login page, sign up. These can be features that can be defined to task. So task is a set of thing that needs to be actioned by our team, right? So whole set of list is prepared by our product owner, and also our other team also, like developers also take part in this, right? Next is the Scrum Master. So Scrum Master is basically a guide here. Like we have some Scrum like artifacts and Scrum events that we have to follow, the process that I was mentioning, right? So Scrum Master is the one who keep an eye on everyone, like product owner and developers, like we are following that process or not. So it's basically a teacher, I would say here. Okay. And next comes the developers, or we can also say a development team. So product owner is Scrum Master. They both are individual person. Okay. One product owner, one Scrum Master. In development team, we have set of people with different backgrounds, like will be having developers who will be developing the code, developing an application. There we will be having designers who will design everything. We'll be having testers. So that's why it is a team. Okay. Now in the upcoming slide, we'll be studying about their responsibilities like individually. So product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of product resulting from the work of Scrum team. Okay. So product owner is the one who do all kind of market research. Again, if we go back to the food app example, like what sort of features will be there, what extra we can add here. Okay. Just let me put this window aside. Yeah. So product owner is the one who create and own the product vision. So whenever I'm using the word product, it can be an application or any website that we are creating, right? So holistically, we call it as a product only. So here in our case, if we are go with the food app example, so what will be the vision of that application? So vision can be when Ajay, like that project manager, right? When he connected with the Priya, so Priya might have explained about what is the vision, why she want to develop this product, what is the problem that she want to solve. So that is the one that's done by a product owner. And next one is managing the product backlog, that I already explained, like set of list that needs to be done. Defining the sprint objective. So once list is done, list can be a heavy list of let's say 20 to 30 features, right? And when I say sprint is 2 to 4 week of cycle, 4 week of time period. Okay. So that cycle, they cannot sprint objective. It cannot be. So product owner have to define one sprint objective, like in first 2 to 4 weeks, these tasks needs to be done. What is the objective? What will be the outcomes? So everything is done by product owner. And the next one is, I think my screen is stuck. Yeah, next one is a product manager is the one who manage budget, scope, releases, and stakeholders of the product. So here stakeholders will be Priya, like who is investing her time and her money into this, right? So product owner have to define like what will be the budget of this, what will be the releases scope. Releases means when 2 to 4 week of first sprint is done, in first release, what are the features that Priya can expect that she can uh, share it with the customers who order food apps so that they can at least solve their clumsy problem that they were facing earlier. And the next one is review the work done by the development team. So development teams means designer, developers, whatever work they are doing, because product owner is the one who defined a task. Let's say task will be, let's create a login page, right? So product owner can define login page needs to be done and some description about the task. And then that task is forwarded to the development team, right? So development team have to study it, work on their development team will be designer, tester, everyone have to work on that and come up with the actual feature that product owner expected and mentioned in the list. So product owner review that work as well, like are we going on the track and all. Next comes the second role of Scrum team, that is Scrum Master, and that I already mentioned. It's he's kind of a Scrum guide here and kind of teacher. So Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum, and they do this by helping everyone understand about the Scrum theory and practices, both within the Scrum team and the organization, right? So when I say theory and practices, like the artifacts, the events that needs to be done, events can be a meetings that I'll be covering in the next slide. So all needs to be done as per the process. So that is a Scrum Master job. And if there is any like roadblock in development team, someone is facing any issue, all sort of problem, also they come to Scrum Master and then Scrum Master try to resolve them. And now we'll cover the Scrum Master responsibilities. So first is teach Scrum practices and principles that I already covered. Next one is assist the product owner with the product backlog list. So once product owner was creating that backlog list, Scrum Master also sometime assist the product owner, like these are the tasks that we can prioritize, or like the discussion. Normally the decision was of product owner only, but Scrum Master also gives us inputs. Then he hosts daily stand-up meetings. So daily stand-up meetings, normally we say it as a daily Scrum meeting that lasts for 15 minutes. So it's kind of normally when teams start their day on the working days, so they have to explain them like what are the tasks they have done last day and what are the tasks that they can cover today. So Scrum Master hosts those meetings as well. And then keep all parties on track and informed, right? Because product owner, he defined the vision, task, he defined what work needs to be done. Scrum Master is the one who take everyone into a same direction, like so that no one will go to the other direction. We should be on track. So that all things are done by Scrum Master. And to remove roadblocks as well. Roadblocks can be, for example, if development team is working on something and might be some developers, they are overloaded with more tasks, right? That is not able to accomplish in the duration that they have decided. So that developer can explain to Scrum Master, and Scrum Master can discuss within the team, might be in the daily Scrum meetings, and might be give that work to someone else who is having who's having more bandwidth and having less tasks. So that is a kind of roadblocks that they can do. Next comes our last, that is development team of our Scrum team. So developers are the people that are committed to creating any aspect of usable increment each sprint, right? So they are the one, like requirement is done, designing and development, all needs to be done by development team. So this is the core team actually who brings those feature into a life. Okay. One is the documentation that product owner is doing. We should do this. These are the features, all that, whatever ideas they have brainstormed, added into a task, right? So there are actually set of tools that we use normally here in Agile and Scrum. Some are like Asana, or we also use Microsoft Azure ADO tool as well. So there's some set of different tools that we use to manage the whole sprint and task. Okay. And so let's discuss about the developer responsibilities. So first is creating a plan for the sprint and the sprint backlog. Okay. So when I say creating a plan, product backlog is already done by our product owner. Now we have to fetch few tasks from that product backlog. Let's say from 30 tasks or 30 features, I will be taking main 5 priority features. Okay. That planning is need to be done with developers, because they are the one who can actually explain if we have to develop a login page, or if we have to integrate some payment app. Like obviously there should be one payment, right? In food delivery app, normally you go to Skip, Swiggy, add your payment. So it asks for different options. It can be a Google Pay or your net banking and all that. So they have integrated those applications they have integrated payment apps to that, right? So developers are the ones who know how much that backend work is. that they have to do coding and all, how much time it will take. And instilling quality by adhering to definition of done. So definition of done is basically when product backlog, when one task is defined, after that you'll be product owner and developers, they mutually discuss and decide what will be definition of done. Like if it's a login, they have to develop a login page. What are the set of criteria or some checks that needs to be done? Only then we can consider, okay, this login page is working fine or it's developed as per we expected. Okay. And then is adapting their plan each day toward the sprint goal. So adapting their plan each day means they have daily scrum meetings, whatever they have discussed, they have to accomplish that. And next is holding each other accountable as professionals. So when I mentioned you about that roadblock part, right? So team have to discuss if someone is working on the code and say facing some issue, but the other person might know that, so they can help each other because we all are working as a team. And next comes the scrum artifacts. Okay. So scrum artifacts are basically the documents that are defined in three parts here. Okay. First is the product backlog, then sprint backlog and product increment. And if we combine all these three, then we have a shippable software that is an application. So now let's study what product backlog, the word that I was using a lot, but I think you might be having a somewhat idea what product backlog is, right? So can anyone want to take a chance and tell me what is product backlog? I mean, as per you, whatever you have understood, you can just unmute your mic. I think if you can. Divya, can participants unmute the mic and ask or like answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyone wants to unmute and tell me what is the product backlog, like the word that I was using for, I think, for more than 30 minutes? Anyone? I think someone in the chat. Balance. That is right. Anyone else wants to take a chance?
It may be the work which is left from the previous sprint, which is not completed yet.
Yeah, that is also a part of product backlog. So, but backlog is a list of first set of lists that our product owner create. Okay. For example, if you want to develop an application, in your mind, what will be the set of task or features that you want to develop? You want to develop a login page, sign up page, payment, Google Map, all set of a big list of product. That is a backlog. But very rightly said that which are not done, that also comes into the sprint. So that is also a part. Okay, so I'll just move forward. So product backlog is emergent order list what needed to be improved the product. It is a single source of work undertaken by Scrum team. So it's the, I would say, a repository of all the tasks that they have to done to accomplish that app or a project, whatever they're working on. Okay. Then product backlog. Here also we have different set of things. So basically we call it as a PBI, that is a product backlog items. Okay. And in PBIs, we'll be having features, what set of features you want to develop, if there are any defects, some technical work, and knowledge acquisition. Like if there are some people in our team who are not aware about this, let's say product owner have developed one feature that no one is aware of, then product manager have to give that knowledge to someone, right? What he's in his mind and what he want to develop. And next comes the user stories and use cases. So user stories is basically, if again I'll take an example of that login page. So there is specific syntax of this. So it's like you have to develop a login page, right? But how you will explain this in a general language or a layman language? Like why you want to develop a login? So syntax is like as a user or as an end user, like because I want to use a food delivery app. So as an end user, I want to log in so that I can order my food. So as a user, I want to do so I can do this, right? There are three things in that. So this is what I did. There is one login page feature, but I just elaborated a bit. So whoever developer and designer will be working on that, they can just imagine because a login needs to be done because they can order a food. So similarly, for all the features, we product owner basically, and sometimes the developers also, they write the user stories. Basically, the product owner, they write the user stories of each feature in the task that they are building. Okay. And so basically all product backlog, mainly it's owned by our product owner. And next comes the sprint backlog. So sprint is basically the subset of our product backlog. As you can see in this diagram, it's kind of Venn diagram that you might have studied, right? So product backlog is a green circle, a big list, big chunk of list, but we're taking sprint backlog from them. So prioritize list of items and tasks, right? So as I explained earlier, we have set of 30 features that we want to develop for food app. But in our first sprint, that will be a 3 to 4 week cycle, we'll be covering 5 features only. Okay, that is our sprint. And again, this diagram show you the same view, but in a different context. So you can see user story 1, 2, 3, 4. These all are features that we want to develop. In sprint backlog, we'll be defining sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. In 1, we'll be covering what all features. Okay. Next comes the product increment. So product increment is basically the set of all items that we have completed in the sprint, and like they're already in the product backlog, and which are already left in the previous sprint. So we can cover in this product increment part. And in this, we have definition of done also that we have. So in the previous slides, I've mentioned about few checks, right? So these checks it should be reviewed by someone or particular stakeholder, completed unit acceptance. So these are a set of tasks that needs to be done. Only then we can say if there's some login feature that is done, that is approved. Okay. Now comes the Scrum events. So Scrum events basically are the time box, some set of meetings that happen in this overall process. So first one here is sprint planning. Like product backlog is ready, we have to plan a sprint 1 that comes in sprint planning. Then comes the sprint planning. Then comes the daily Scrum, our daily meeting that we used to happen between developers, and sometimes Scrum Master also join that. Then sprint review. Review means once sprint is live, like what all features we have defined in our first sprint. Everyone has worked on that. They are live and users supporting that. So that review, in the sprint review, actually stakeholders also join. Like Scrum team, we understood product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. But stakeholder is a different thing. But in the sprint review, stakeholder also comes to check, okay, in this what sprint, what all releases, like what all features has been released. And last is sprint retrospective. So retrospective is basically happen between a Scrum team only, product owner, Scrum Master, and developers. In this, they mutually discuss, okay, what are the things that went well in this retrospective, and what are the things we can discuss, or we can improve the things so that we do not so all the good and bad things basically discussed in this retrospective. Okay, now let me explain you this events like one by one. So if these are Scrum, basically sprint lasts for 1 month, as I mentioned. It can be of 2 weeks or 4 weeks, right? 1 month. So first is sprint planning. So planning is the event at start of sprint where the whole team agree what can be delivered and achieved. They have big chunk of product backlog list ready. They have to plan, like in first sprint, what features will be launched. Okay, so that has been discussed. And if you see the attendees also, we have product owners, Scrum Master, and developers. Whole Scrum team come on the same table and do that. And this meeting lasts actually 8 hours because they have to plan a chunk of work that needs to be done in a month. So it needs time, right? So that is sprint planning. And next here is daily Scrum. So this is basically a daily 15-minute meetings, which basically developers join. But like in the starting, Scrum Master also joined that. But Scrum Master want this to be done mutually between developers. They should be aware because whatever task, for example, if it's a login page is getting developed, right? And that designer involvement is also there because designer have designed those user experience, some pages, how it needs to be look. We have developers as well. So developers will be front-end developers, back-end developers. So they all are working on a one feature of, let's say, one product, like what's been planned in the sprint planning. So they all should be in sync. Whatever work they're doing, they should be aware of, right? And if someone is facing any problem, they can come up in this meeting. And so these are basically mandatory meetings that they have to attend. Or if there are any roadblocks as well, that also Scrum Master joins and he try to cover up those roadblocks so that whatever time they have accomplished, like in 1 month, we have to launch these 4 to 5 features. So it needs to be done. Okay. And next is sprint review. So the purpose of sprint review is to inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. As I earlier mentioned, this is also a big meeting because in this sprint 1, consider sprint 1, 5 features, they are live. Okay. Our customers are using that. So in this, stakeholders will also join, like the client who are working for the product, right? So they also join and see, okay, what are the progress this team has done because they are investing their money into this. So they should be aware of. So you remember in the benefits, I mentioned about the customer involvement, like client involvement. So this is where involvement is there. So after 1 month only, they can see 5 features are live. Okay, they are very well. So, so stakeholders also aware, right? So the last one here is sprint retrospective, where we discuss all the good things and bad things and how to accomplish or how to overcome those bad things that's been there. There must be some roadblocks or any sort of problems that they have faced, and they have so that in the next sprint they can plan their planning more accurately. Okay, so that meeting lasts for 3 hours, and overall Scrum team joins that. And so we are done with the Scrum team, Scrum events. We're done with Scrum team, Scrum events, and Scrum artifacts. So now in this slide, I'll be explaining you the overall whole process, how it works and how it starts. Just a minute, I'll take some water. Yeah. So before starting, any question or like I'll just cover the slide and then we can cover up the questions. Okay. And like I have a small surprise also for you guys. So we're just one slide away for that from that surprise. Okay. So here it starts with the product backlog. Product owner comes, he create a product vision, define all the features in one document, all the set of tasks, the list. We can call it number of ways, right? So that list is done. That is the first process. Second process comes the sprint planning. So here comes our overall Scrum team, Scrum Master, product owner, and our development team. They come onto the same table. So you remember in the Scrum, even that 8-hour meeting. So this is what will happen. So they discuss all the first sprint backlog there. That will be our next step. Product backlog. Let's take a small chunk of features, put it in a sprint backlog. So that is also been mutually decided and agreed by everyone, right? Developers and owners. And because actually product owner is the one who basically do a market research, define a product vision. He know what is going in the market and what he wants to develop. But when it comes to the on ground work, that is the development team, they can explain or make us aware, like product owner aware, okay, this is possible because these are the technologies that we can use and it can be done. So in sprint planning, what set of tasks that we what set of tasks that we define, we also said give our priorities to them, like it can be one priority, two priority, and what will be the time taken for this. Okay, all that's done by sprint planning. And next is sprint backlog. Product backlog, sprint backlog is subset of this. We have taken this. And next come the daily scrum. So team has decided their 1 month work. 1 month, I say 4 week, right? So 5 features are defined for that 1 month. Now in daily scrum, they'll come in the meeting and discuss, okay, so are you working on this features? What is the progress? Is there any issue that you're facing? Okay, so some people will say these are the issues I'm facing. Scrum Master will discuss them, everyone, and everyone they can contribute, right? They are not like if you're a developer or designer, you cannot tell your point. Whatever idea you have, you can just come to that meeting and share your ideas. So that is a good like benefit of this. I can say employee satisfaction, right? Everyone is aware what has been going here. So next steps come the sprint review. Okay, daily scrum meetings are done. 1 month is over. Our sprint is live now. Here comes the sprint review. It should be sprint review actually. So sprint review is being done, which is our 4-hour meeting with our stakeholders, where developers and product owner, we are showing to us our stakeholder, like this is what we have done. Okay. And next comes the sprint retrospective. Retrospective means no stakeholder is there, just we, Scrum team, product owners, Scrum Master, and developers. They are discussing the good and bad things. What are the things that they should cover up or they should eliminate to expand their flexibility of work or adaptability. Sorry. So that is a sprint retrospective. So once retrospective is done, again we go back to, if I'll show you this. After retrospective, again we'll go back to the product backlog part only, because when things started, product backlog means how many 20 features. In first sprint, 1 month, we have completed only 5 features and they are live. Clients, customers are end user customers are using that. Again, after retrospective, we again go to product backlog. So whatever tasks that we have discussed in sprint 1, might be one task can be, it was a very big task or very small one. It was not accomplished due to any sort of reason, right? So again, that will be back added to the product backlog. Again, discussion will happen next sprint 2, and this is how it goes. So I think I am done with my session webinar. So before going forward, I'll just take if there are any questions, or I think I'm running out of time or what. Yeah, let me check a chat. Can same person be product developer as well as Scrum Master? No, because product developer is the one, just 1 minute, I'll just take up this question. So product developer is the one who is working, like doing coding on the work, right? But if that person want to be a Scrum Master, then he or she have to do some Scrum certification, understand this process. And after those certification got passed, and then that person can apply. But if you're talking about the same team, there is one Scrum Master, there is one developer. So in that team, I don't think it's possible, like the same person can play a role of developer and Scrum Master, right? Because Scrum Master have to keep an eye on everyone. But developer is doing some set of tasks that has been decided and done. So if there are no questions, I'll just take a couple of minutes, Divya, and show you the surprise that I have. Okay, I think. Yeah, first of all, I would like to congratulate everyone and well done to attend this course, that too on Sunday. And last, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. And if anyone wants to connect with me, you can just connect me with me on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's all from my side. Yeah, yes, Divya, over to you.
Wow, what a wonderful knowledge given by you, ma'am. I hope our
Thank you
audience
so
learn
much.
many new things from this session. I would like to highlight some of the points like a symphony of teamwork, agile and scrum methodology, harmonize the efforts of developers, testers, and stakeholders to deliver exceptional software. It was very effective for our audience. And again, thank you for joining us and sharing your experience, your precious time and knowledge with us. Ma'am, there are a few questions which our audience wants to get answered. So, with your permission, shall we start?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Happy to do.
Ma'am, my first question be, what are some common challenges teams face when adopting Agile and Scrum and how can they be overcome?
Okay, so common challenges can be like if they have decided like it can be done in a first sprint, right? What set of tasks that needs to be done. But what if it's not done, or sometimes people who are not aware of the Scrum process. Let's say there is one developer who is newly hired by some IT company and he's not aware about this. So sometimes that person might same some face some challenges, right? Because he or she is a fresher joined to that company. So that's why I say we should have at least some clarification about the process, how it works, so that that person can having some idea about artifacts, events, so that he'll be very well through with the process and understand. So challenge can be a person who is not aware about this process and he's new to the team or meeting. So that can be a challenge, I would say.
Ma'am, my second question be, how does Agile and Scrum promote continuous improvement within development teams?
Okay. So Agile and Scrum, when we're saying, so Agile is a big umbrella framework under which we have Scrum as one, right? So it promotes the improvement, like I explained in the whole course about sprint, how we work in the sprint. It's a one month, 2 to 4 weeks of team that we do. So developers, they are not overloaded with the as they were overloaded in the traditional methodologies, right? Their set of tasks, they have to be done hard stop, some hard stop dates or deadlines that they have to follow. But here they have full flexibility, so they can overcome all type of challenges. They can discuss their challenges in their scrum, daily scrums. Let's say you're working on some feature, some code, right? And you're not getting how to do, or any sort of problem that you're facing. You have a daily scrum next day, you can discuss and overcome that.
My next question be, can a same person be a product developer as well as Scrum Master?
Yeah, so this I already answered earlier, but I can answer again. So if you are in the same team, you are you are Scrum Master and you are developer, then in same team you cannot play both the roles, right? Because Scrum Master have to keep an eye on whole Scrum team. Whole Scrum team means product owner and developer. So developer team of developers can be 8 to 9 people, right? So it's a heavy work that they have to do. Developer has some set of tasks or features that they have to accomplish. But in case if developer wants to go to and he want to pursue the Scrum Master role, he can do the Scrum certifications. We have Scrum Alliance. These are certification portals that they have. They can study that process, take that certification, and apply. Might be in the same company or other company as a Scrum Master. So he can do that.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering this question.
But I would say thank you for all for joining. Okay. Because only some people take this initiative to spend their Sunday to give some learning. Because obviously it's a weekend, it's decided to fun and everything. But it's good that you have joined and you have learned something new.
Again, thank you all for today's attending webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide you additional support to you. Please follow us on our social media and subscribe our YouTube channel for new learnings. Thank you so much for cooperating. So stay connected to us for new learnings. I, Divya Jain, your host for today, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you so much, ma'am, for this session.
Yeah. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Same to you, ma'am.